in the sun where I find, I know it's hard sometimes. Pieces of peace in the sun's peace of mind. I know it's hard sometimes. Yeah, I think about the end just way too much, but it's fun to fantasize on my enemies who wouldn't wish who I was, but it's fun to fantasize. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my ride. Oh, 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 I'm falling, so I'm taking my time on my ride. Taking my time on my ride.
A few moments later.
I'm this close to slamming my fucking balls in a waffle iron and screaming racial slurs at the top of my lungs.
Everything you think you know about reality might just be a projection of your own consciousness. Imagine waking up in a dream so vivid, so real, that you can't tell it from the world you call waking life. Now consider that waking life itself might be a dream, a projection filtered through your mind, shaped by your awareness. Stick around with me until the end of this video, and together we'll uncover the mysteries of consciousness and ask all the right questions to gather true understanding on our voyage today. Modern science, in ways both subtle and profound, hints that this isn't just poetic speculation. The double-slit experiment, first demonstrated by Thomas Young in 1801 and later explored in quantum physics, shows that particles behave differently when observed. Observation itself seems to collapse possibilities into reality. In other words, the universe doesn't just exist independently of us, it responds to consciousness itself. And it's not just physics. People who have experienced near-death events report awareness continuing even when the brain activity has flatlined, suggesting consciousness might not be entirely bound to the brain. The question we'll explore in this video is simple but profound. Is consciousness the foundation of everything, or just a byproduct of matter? By the end, you may never look at your life or the universe the same way again. Arg! Ahoy there, me fellow nautical truth seekers! This is your favorite esoteric captain, Aries Ezra. You have just embarked upon the noble and esteemed vessel, Nautical Awakenings. On this ship, we don't simply skim across the waters of life. We ask the hard-hitting questions and dive headfirst into the murky depths of truth and mystery. We explore and examine the turbulent seas and currents of conspiracy and intrigue, steadfast and headstrong. If you're ready to embark upon our esoteric voyage into the depths of consciousness and discovering the frontier of the final reality, then strap up your boots and put on your thinking caps. It's time to take action. Walk the plank and subscribe to the Nautical Awakenings crew. Be sure to ring the ship's bell on your way over, and you'll never miss another underway with us. Toss over the mooring lines and share this video with your fellow spiritual swashbucklers. Lastly, drop anchor in the comments to join the discussion in Scuttlebutt. Avast ye mateys! The ship's whistle has blown, and the ship is now underway. It's time to get nautical. Consciousness, at its simplest, it is awareness itself. The ability to experience, perceive, and witness. It's the light illuminating the stage of life. But for something so intimate, it remains one of the greatest mysteries. The traditional scientific perspective of materialism suggests that consciousness is an emergent property of the brain. Neurons fire, neurotransmitters interact, and, through this complex dance, self-awareness arises. From this lens, your thoughts, dreams, and sense of self are byproducts of matter in motion. Yet an alternative and equally compelling perspective exists. Consciousness may come first, with matter emerging from it. Philosophers like George Berkeley in the 18th century argued that reality is fundamentally mental, that to exist is to be perceived. Modern theories, including panpsychism, suggest that even elementary particles possess some form of proto-consciousness, forming a continuum that eventually gives rise to human awareness. Why does this matter? Because if consciousness is primary, life, death, free will, and meaning are all reframed. Every choice, every obsession, every observation, every perception becomes an active part of reality itself. And in this perspective, the universe isn't a clockwork machine. It's a living, responsive tapestry woven by awareness. For years now, one of the most modern and popular metaphysical ideas has been the simulation hypothesis, the possibility that our universe is not base reality, but an advanced computational construct. Philosophers like Nick Bostrom have argued that statistically, it may be more likely that we exist inside a simulation other than in the original physical layer of reality. Tech leaders have echoed this idea, suggesting that our world could be the product of unimaginable code running on some sort of higher dimensional machine. It's an idea that feels intuitive in this digital age. After all, we now create virtual worlds ourselves, immersive simulations filled with autonomous characters and evolving environments. If we can build primitive digital realities, why couldn't a more advanced civilization construct one vastly more sophisticated? From this perspective, space-time becomes hardware, physics becomes software, and we are the avatars inside of a cosmic program. But there's a deeper question hidden beneath this theory. If this is a simulation, who or what is experiencing it? A simulation, by definition, still requires an observer. Code does not experience itself. Data does not feel. Computation does not awaken. Even the most complex artificial systems only process information unless there is something it is like to be that system. And that brings us back to consciousness. Because even if reality is a simulation, it is still appearing to awareness. The pixels of existence, simulated or not, are known only through experience. So, the deeper layer may not be computational at all. It may be experiential. Perhaps consciousness is not inside the simulation. Perhaps the simulation is inside of consciousness. And that inversion changes everything. Quantum physics gives us some of the most startling hints that consciousness is fundamental. In the double-slit experiment, electrons fired at a barrier with two slits create an interference pattern, behaving like waves when unobserved. Yet, when a detector measures which slit the electron passes through, the pattern collapses into particles. Observation changes reality. Physicist John Wheeler called this the participatory universe, suggesting consciousness plays a key role in shaping the world and reality itself. Entanglement adds to this mystery. Particles separated by light years respond simultaneously to each other. Einstein referred to this as spooky action at a distance, yet it's been repeatedly confirmed in multitudes of experiments. This challenges the idea that matter alone defines reality. Neuroscience offers intriguing insights too. Studies on near-death experiences, like those compiled by Dr. Pim van Lommel, show that people report vivid awareness even when EEG readings indicate no measurable brain activity. Likewise, DMT studies led by Dr. Rick Strassman reveal that participants often encounter fully realized alternate worlds with intelligent entities, experiences that suggest that consciousness can perceive dimensions beyond ordinary spacetime. Some physicists, like Max Tegmark, argue that the universe itself might be mathematical in nature, information-based rather than purely material. If reality is coded information, consciousness could be the processing agent, the observer that brings it into expression. In this sense, consciousness is less of a product of matter and more of a lens through which all matter manifests. Picture this: your mind is the projector, and the universe is the movie screen. Mystics and spiritual traditions, long before quantum physics, understood that awareness might be primary. Gnostic teachings describe the monad, the singular source of all consciousness, from which emanates Sophia, divine wisdom, unfolding into the material universe. In this framework, the cosmos is not an accident, but a true expression of consciousness. In the Advaita Vedanta, Brahman is pure awareness, unchanging, infinite, and formless. The world we perceive, Maya, is a projection, in short, an illusion. Enlightenment is the realization that the self and Brahman are one, that the witness and the witnessed are inseparable. The Kabbalah offers a similar perspective. The tree of life, with its 10 emanations, represents consciousness flowing through all levels of creation. Hermetic philosophy echoes this sentiment, describing that the universe is mind-made, the all is mind, the universe is mental, writes Hermes Trismegistus. Even mystical stories of awakening reinforce this. Consider the Zen koan of the sound of the one hand clapping. It isn't just a riddle. It's a pointer toward the realization that perception itself constructs reality. Alan Watts often illustrated this with the metaphor of life as a play. You are both the actor and the audience, experiencing a world that unfolds because you are aware of it. In practical terms, spiritual practices like meditation, lucid dreaming, or deep contemplation reveal moments when reality itself feels malleable, when your mind is no longer separate from the world, but intimately entwined with it. Long before quantum physics, long before neuroscience, mystics across cultures were reporting something extraordinary, the dissolution of the self. In the Advaita Vedanta, sages spoke of Atman, pure awareness, as identical to the ultimate reality. In Buddhism, practitioners describe the experience of non-duality, a state in which the boundary between observer and the observed collapses. Christian contemplatives spoke of union with God. Sufi mystics describe Fana, the annihilation of the ego in divine presence. Different languages, different metaphors, the same core insight. The self dissolves, but awareness remains. What's even more fascinating is that similar patterns emerge in modern near-death experience research. Cardiologist Dr. Pinvin Lamo documented cases in which patients reported vivid consciousness experiences during periods of cardiac arrest, moments when measurable brain activity was severely diminished or absent. In the AWARE studies, led by Dr. Sam Parnia, researchers investigated reports of awareness during clinical death. These findings are controversial and debated, but they raise a provocative question. If consciousness were merely or purely a byproduct of brain activity, how could coherent experiences occur when the brain appears offline? Now we must be careful. This is not proof of life after death. It is not proof that consciousness floats free of biology. But it does challenge the assumption that the brain simply generates awareness like a machine would produce heat. What if the brain is less like a generator and more like a receiver, a filter, an interface? And what if the ego, the voice in your head, is just a temporary construct within something far larger? If the self can dissolve, but awareness remains, then perhaps consciousness is not something we have. Perhaps it is something that we are. Imagine your waking life as a lucid dream. In dreams, the mind creates landscapes, characters, and events. You navigate these worlds as if they were real, yet they arise entirely from consciousness. Could our waking life operate in the same way, except with a little more complexity? The Matrix is more than fiction. It's a direct metaphor. Perception filters reality, and consciousness interprets, constructs, and sometimes distorts it. Simulation theory, discussed by thinkers like Nick Bostrom, suggests that the universe might function like a sophisticated program, where consciousness is the core processor. I remember one evening, standing on a quiet street, the city lights reflecting on wet asphalt, feeling simultaneously immersed and detached. It struck me. The reality before me was both real and entirely my own perception. It is in that moment I realize that life isn't merely happening, but it's happening through me. Another example, during meditation, I focus on observing thoughts without reacting. Slowly, the sensation of time shifted, and the boundaries between self and environment blurred. The streets outside, the wind, the distant voices, everything seemed interconnected, alive, and responsive. If you've ever had a moment when the world felt simultaneously solid yet dreamlike, you've glimpsed this phenomenon yourself. If consciousness is fundamental, then reality is not fixed, it's malleable. Thoughts, intentions, and perceptions actively shape outcomes. This reframes how we should approach life. Challenges are not just obstacles, but invitations for awareness to interact with the universe. Life and death take on an entirely new meaning then. If awareness exists beyond matter, then consciousness may continue beyond physical demise, transforming rather than ending. Spiritual traditions describe this as rebirth, liberation, or the continuation of the soul's journey. But even modern quantum physics hint at information persistence, suggesting continuity of awareness, the continuity of awareness. Free will is also redefined. If consciousness precedes matter, then agency is intrinsic. Each thought is creative. Each focus of attention becomes a ripple in the universal pond. By cultivating awareness, we refine our ability to influence the world in subtle but profound ways. Spiritual and psychological growth becomes mastery of perception. By training our awareness through meditation, reflection, and mindful observation, we gain tools not just to navigate life, but to actively participate in the unfolding of reality itself. The universe isn't some sort of static backdrop. It's alive and well, and we are both the witness and co-creator of this reality together. Materialists provide compelling arguments. Brain injuries, neurological diseases, and pharmacological interventions can drastically alter consciousness, suggesting a dependence on physical processes. Studies correlating brain activity with perception and memory appear to reinforce the idea that mind emerges from matter. And yet, consciousness-first theories are inherently difficult to measure. Subjective experience resists quantification, and while we can observe neural correlates, they may not explain the qualitative essence of awareness. Philosopher David Chalmers calls this the hard problem of consciousness, the question of why experience exists at all. Balancing skepticism and openness is the key here. Even if consciousness, as the foundation of reality, cannot be definitively proven, the convergence of evidence from quantum physics, neuroscience, psychedelics, and mystical traditions all suggest a universe far more subtle, interconnected, and responsive than a purely materialist model allows. We may never fully know the ultimate truth, but exploring that idea that consciousness shapes reality opens doors to better understanding ourselves, our universe, and the mysterious space where mind and matter intertwine. For 13.8 billion years, the universe has been increasing in complexity. Hydrogen atoms formed stars. Stars forge heavier elements. Those elements form planets. On at least one of those planets, chemistry became biology. Biology became nervous systems. Nervous systems became self-awareness. And now, matter can contemplate its own existence. That trajectory is astonishing. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin once suggested that evolution is not merely biological, it is directional. That complexity gives rise to consciousness, and consciousness may be moving toward what he called an omega point, a culmination of awareness. Modern theories like integrated information theory propose that consciousness exists in degrees, increasing with the integration of information within a system. If so, then awareness is not an anomaly. It is part of a gradient woven into the fabric of reality. Physicist John Wheeler proposed something called the participatory anthropic principle, the idea that observers are necessary to bring the universe into being in a meaningful way. That reality is not fully formed without participation. So here's the question. Is the universe something that has happened, or is it something that is happening through us? What if humanity is not the final stage of awareness, but a transitional one? What if self-reflective consciousness is just the beginning of something larger? Maybe the question is no longer whether consciousness is fundamental. Maybe the question is whether it is still becoming. The universe is not just expanding outward, it is waking up inward. And maybe it is doing through you. It is doing so through all of us. The most important exploration is not theoretical, it's experiential. Begin observing your own awareness. Meditate. Practice lucid dreaming. Watch how attention, intention, and focus influence your experience of the world. Notice the subtle shifts in perception. Synchronicities may emerge. Opportunities, insights, and even people may appear as if in your response to your awareness. This is not magic in the fantasy sense. It's the universe reflecting back to you your own consciousness. In our upcoming videos, we'll go even deeper, exploring how to step out of the matrix and enter what some call the prime reality, and uncover why the universe depends on conscious beings to exist. But the first step is simple. Just observe. If consciousness is the foundation of all reality, what does that mean for your life, your choices, and the perception of the world around you? The question is open-minded, keeping the mystery alive, and your awareness is the key. Share your experiences in the comments. Moments when reality felt different, when time, space, or perception seemed malleable. And stay tuned. In the next exploration, we'll dive into how to actively shape reality itself, revealing tools, methods, and insights to awaken to the power of consciousness in your daily life. Until then, keep observing, keep questioning, and remember, what is happening through you is yourself as you are the witness as the world unfolds around you. Arrgh! This brings us to the conclusion of our epic expedition today, ye scallywags. If you're ready to dive deeper, if you desire to continue navigating the storms of illusion in your quest for the illuminating light, if your curiosity for the hidden forces which shaped our world is the air to your sails, then make sure you subscribe to Nautical Awakenings right now. Don't forget to hit that notification bell too, and join us. Every day, we continue exploring the oceans of truth that most are too afraid to sail. Be sure to like the video and share it around too, please. Come sail with us, because once you begin questioning reality at this level, there's no turning back. This channel will succeed without the help of my fellow salty spittoons, and I am truly appreciative for everyone's support. Thank you. And if your spirit is calling back to the esoteric oceans of mystery and truth, and you need more content right now, be sure to check out the Captain Stash of videos. Feast your eyes and plunder the golden odysseys of videos waiting for you there. Until next time, keep your compass pointed inward, your sails open out, and your mind's eye wide awake towards the horizon. Keep asking, keep searching, and as always, keep aligned. This is your decorated captain, Aries Ezra, and I'm signing off from the bridge aboard Nautical Awakenings. I'll catch you all out on the open waters. Peace and love, my spiritual shipmates.